This is the iPhone 8 Plus, Apple's latest dual-camera phablet. It's got an all-new glass back, next-gen processor, and even some improvements to its claim-to-fame dual cameras. That all sounds good, but with the arrival of the iPhone X, the Plus is no longer the top dog in Apple's kennel. Is there still enough to like here to make the iPhone 8 Plus worth considering? I'm Stephen Shank with PhoneArena, looking for an answer to that question as I review the iPhone 8 Plus. For a few years after its inception, the choice between iPhone and iPhone Plus was largely about size, but last year really started bringing features into the mix with the introduction of the dual-camera iPhone 7 Plus. Now, if you wanted all the high-end Apple hardware you could carry around in one pocket, that meant choosing the company's larger iPhone option. This year, the presence of extra functionality on the iPhone Plus continues and expands, even as this phone launches in the shadow of an even better equipped iPhone X just over the horizon. The iPhone 8 Plus sure looks a lot like the 7 Plus, and especially if you're only looking at online pics of the two phones, you're going to be hard-pressed to spot any major differences. The layout's the same, the design is nearly identical, and while not exactly the same size, we're talking differences that measure in on the sub-millimeter range. But change is still present, maybe most prominently in the move away from a metal unibody design and towards a glass-backed construction. That new glass back looks quite nice, and at least with this silver finish we picked up, even fingerprints don't prove to be too large an issue. We're still a little concerned though, as glass tends to be a lot less forgiving to accidental damage than metal, but for the moment we're just trying real hard not to drop or scratch anything. In addition to this silver, space gray and gold options are also available, but that still represents less variety than we got last year. And just in case you were concerned that the change in materials meant the iPhone Plus losing its long overdue water resistance, worry not, as the 8 Plus is just as waterproof as its predecessor. This year's iPhone 8 Plus sticks with the same screen size and resolution as we're familiar with from past entries, a good phablet-sized 5.5-inch display with 1080 by 1920 pixels. That makes for a more pixel-dense, sharper-looking screen than we get on the smaller iPhone 8. Color accuracy is strong and just the slightest bit off from where we'd like it to be, and this year the iPhone 8 Plus also picks up Apple's True Tone tech from the iPad Pro line, which lets the phone's display automatically adjust its color temperature to match that of lights around you, helping to keep the screen natural looking in the process. If there's one downside to the display on the iPhone 8 Plus, it's that brightness isn't quite as high as it was last year, or even as high as we see it now on the iPhone 8. But while that does take a hit, it's still better than a whole lot of the other phones we test, so it may not be a deal breaker for you. Apple's latest mobile processor, the A11 Bionic, powers the iPhone 8 Plus, resulting in some of the most impressive benchmarks we've ever seen on the smartphone. Really, its only competition comes from the smaller iPhone 8, which squeezes by with slightly higher frame rates. Just like plenty of manufacturers over on the Android side of the fence, Apple's finally upgrading to a 64GB base storage level for this year's iPhones, including the Plus. That's a great place to start, and especially with Apple's strong cloud storage infrastructure, may be all you ever need. But if you do want to push the limit even higher, a 256GB iPhone 8 Plus is available for $150 more than the 64GB edition. iOS 11 is upon us, and while you may have had the chance to play around with it already after upgrading your existing iPhone, it's ready to use right out of the box on the iPhone 8 Plus. The new software brings extra functionality to a number of key apps and services, from Siri to Maps, while others, like the App Store, enjoy a more substantial overhaul. Of all the changes present, we particularly dig the reimagined Control Center, and in addition to its new look, we appreciate the ability to customize it with the app shortcuts of our choice. Like with the iPhone 8, there's not a lot new here insofar as connectivity options go, but a few upgrades are still present this year, including the arrival of Bluetooth 5.0 support for new Internet of Things devices, as well as enhanced location services now supporting GPS-like satellite networks launched by Europe and Japan. Apple told us to expect louder sound from the speakers on this year's iPhones, and while our tests haven't confirmed a big volume increase, we can't deny that the speakers still sound really great, and love that stereo output is sticking around. Of course, love and hate often go hand in hand, and we can't say those same warm feelings extend to the still absent analog headphone jack. Apple hooks us up with another pair of lightning-equipped earpods that sound as nice as they did last year. It just sucks that we can't use them with all our other hardware. And we like that Apple's still throwing us a bone with an adapter for existing analog headphones, even if we're continuously worried about losing it. Though the speakers sound good, we wish we could say the same about voice calls. On both this and the iPhone 8 we tested, we found calls plagued by a distracting clicking sound, something turning off noise cancellation did nothing to remedy. We're hoping this might just be a software glitch that can be patched, because it's really unlike Apple to drop the ball like this. Even though resolution is staying at 12 megapixels for both of the iPhone 8 Plus's cameras, upgrades are still present, including a bigger sensor and refined color filter. The effect that has on image quality can sometimes be subtle, but since we were already starting from such a high level, that really shouldn't be a negative. Pictures taken with the iPhone 8 Plus look beautiful, with natural color reproduction and some commendable low light performance. As we knew to expect from last year, having a 2x telephoto zoom lens adds a lot of flexibility to how we frame and capture images, and the experience here is just as easy and satisfying to use as it was in the iPhone 7 Plus. Portrait mode makes its return, and this year picks up an upgrade in the form of the still-in-beta portrait lighting mode. This allows you to enhance the subject of your pic with a variety of interesting lighting effects, and even black out the background for dramatic impact. Right now, this is still a little shaky, and sometimes the effects work a lot better than others. We're hoping Apple keeps tweaking things in the aim of making the feature even more impressive. Video recording works just as nicely as taking photos, and this year the iPhone 8 Plus picks up some new high-end modes, including 4K at 60 frames per second. Though that looks quite nice, just be aware that while most of the less demanding video settings allow you to switch between cameras while in the middle of recording, you do lose that feature in this highest end mode. Just like last year, the iPhone 8 Plus packs a bigger battery than its little brother, and not all that power is wasted on a bigger screen, meaning you can expect significantly longer operational times with the Plus. We saw an impressive 10.5 hours of screen on time during our custom tests. Just keep in mind that a bigger battery also means longer recharges, and here it can take nearly 3 hours with the included charger. Luckily, Quick Charge support has finally hit the iPhone lineup, and the 8 Plus is ready to go if you've got the right adapter, like the one that might have come with your Apple laptop. As if that wasn't a nice enough upgrade, the new glass back on this year's iPhones lets this handset take advantage of wireless charging when paired with any Qi-compatible charging pad. Though Apple's late to that party, its implementation here is pretty solid, with the phone quickly and seamlessly detecting and engaging with available chargers. And at least with the official iPhone 8 Plus silicone case we picked up from Apple, you can even use wireless charging while keeping your hardware protected. The iPhone 8 Plus is a very worthy successor to the 7 Plus, delivering improved battery life, faster performance, and even a slightly better camera. While we don't love the glass back, we can forgive it as at least it enables wireless charging. Really, the only outright miss is that issue we had with voice call quality, but even that doesn't detract too much from the overall experience. But as we alluded to earlier, for as good a phone as the iPhone 8 Plus is, it no longer feels like Apple's best. And while it outdoes the smaller iPhone 8 in a number of key areas, we similarly expect the 8 Plus to be one-upped by the iPhone 10 when that handset lands in just a few more weeks. If you can't see yourself spending $1,000 on a smartphone, or maybe just prefer the more traditional look of the 8 Plus, you won't go wrong picking up this model. But if you're even the least bit curious about Apple's challenging new vision for the future of smartphones, maybe hold off for another month just to get the full picture on the 10. I'm Stephen Shank with PhoneArena. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming reviews, including the iPhone 10.